everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. I know that you can't tell from this very close crop behind me here, but my sewing room is an absolute disaster. Comic-Con has just like exploded everywhere for the last, honestly, probably a couple of months, not just few weeks. It's been getting worse and worse every single week, and it is so bad I can't do anything. Like my table, there's no table there. I just can't. And I have literally just in the past week or so been kind of like shoving things aside to make the tiniest bit of room on my table so that I could put the tiniest thing there. Luckily, I haven't been doing a ton of sewing, but I want to sew because Victorian Festival is coming and I need to sew, which means I need a clean room. So we're going to switch this up just a little bit here. And while I clean my sewing room, I am also going to be answering the questions that you have all asked me. Just about every year right around this time, which is my birthday. Actually, if you are seeing this on the day that it comes out to the general public, it is my birthday, March 22nd. And I tend to like to do a birthday Q&A. It seems like it's become kind of an annual tradition. So I'm going to be answering your questions while at the same time, I also clean my sewing room. So let's get into it. This place is an absolute disaster and explosion of Emerald City Comic-Con. Literally, that's Jane. She's been in a bag for a week. The wig and everything, she's just been sitting there since I changed out of her over a week ago, actually. But it is just a disaster explosion in here. So much stuff. I need to figure out how to store Barbie. I honestly have no idea because she's got metal butterflies and wires in her sleeves. So that's going to be interesting. Giant pile over here of my new acquisitions, which you will see very soon in my Vancouver shopping blog next week. And just more absolute mess. Like, I really want to get started on a sewing project, but I can't access my table. It's a disaster. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put this on speed up mode and clean up this ridiculous room while I answer all of your questions. Help. I'm doing this old school on actual paper because I'm like that. And I've kind of grouped your questions into a few different categories: costuming and sewing questions, theater related questions, American Girl related questions, and then just like personal questions about me. And if you wind up hearing any noise in the background, it's because it's Maisie, and some of these questions are about Maisie as well, my cat, for those of you who don't know. So we'll see if she wants to actually be in the video at any point. She will definitely be in the cleaning portion of this video because I've already filmed some parts of that and she'll be here, so don't worry. So multiple people asked, is there an era or place in time for fashion that I haven't done but that I would love to try? And honestly, I've done most eras at this point. It had kind of been my goal at one point to do pretty much like all of the eras from like the 1770s up through the 19-teens, and I've done all of those. So at this point it kind of is working maybe a little bit further back. If you watched my plans video, there is, and specifically this is my plans video from last year because I don't remember if I talked about it in my most recent one. I need to put Barbie away. But frankly, I kind of just feel like bagging her up, but I know that that's gonna kind of scrunch up her bangs. Maybe scrunching up the bangs doesn't really matter. They're kind of bad enough already, so I think she's just gonna get netted and put back in a bag. But there is this portrait right here that I would like to do. This is from, I think, the 1690s, so I've never done that era. That might be fun to try, but otherwise I've kind of done most eras that I already like, so it's just about building wardrobes in each of those eras. Barbie is nicely bagged up. Here is Jane. I'm going to take out the few bobby pins that I had put in her that I really like pinned kind of into my wig cap, so they're not going to stay without it being on my head anyway. And I'm going to net her up because now the hairstyle is just down, very easy. And she and the Barbie wig are going to go back into my wig storage, which is a little like plastic tub where all my wigs get shoved into, and I really need to get a bigger and nicer container, but it is what it is when you live in a tiny house. Another question that multiple people asked was, how do I decide what to sew and how do I stick with that project? And a lot of times I let either the events that are coming up or the fabrics that I find speak to me. And particularly from the fabrics route, like you will see this in one of my upcoming videos actually. I just went up to Vancouver with Kiralee Cosplay and we visited all of the fabric stores up there. So that video will be coming soon. I'm hoping that in all this cleanup, I can also find Barbie's other shoe. I did not bring her with the shoes to Comic-Con, like it was already lost before Comic-Con, so I know that it's somewhere in this room. I just don't know where, so hopefully we can get Barbie her other shoe back. And in that video, you will kind of see me like acquire fabrics and then justify what I'm going to make with them. I honestly don't know why I folded this tulle so nicely. My tulle storage drawer is absolutely rammed. Hopefully I can fit this in there. That's kind of how a lot of it works, is like, okay, well, I have, say, Victorian Festival coming up. I know that I need Victorian costumes. I have just found this silk fabric. This silk fabric reminds me of this fashion plate or this extant dress. Let's make this with this because I have this event coming up. So that's kind of how that works. And kind of likewise, that's how I stick with it, is because I know that I'm going to be wearing it for a particular reason. Like I need the costume at the event, so I know that this is my deadline. The give a mouse a cookie of it all, if you will, is that Rapunzel's wig needs to get back into the closet that is behind everything that is hanging up over here, which means that I need to find a place for Barbie, ideally like a permanent place, before I can really get to all of this. I've also got Barbie's petticoat, so both of those will wind up living in the garage, but I don't know that I have a garment bag long enough for Barbie because I think she needs her own garment bag. So I'm gonna have to go check the garage, but I'm like pretty certain I'm gonna need to purchase a new garment bag before she can actually go live in the garage closet. I mean, I'll move everything so I can get Rapunzel put away because she's like the elephant in the room on the table right now, but it's just annoying that I have to shuffle everything multiple times. I redistributed a few things that were in my extra long garment bags and made one empty for Barbie, so she's gonna go get put away now. I don't know if they make garment bags for gowns with big sleeves, but like these gown bags, they expand down at the bottom, which is great. Got a nice big gusset down at the bottom. Barbie is having some issues where there is no gusset at the top. Hopefully I can make this work. It was a tight squeeze and hopefully I can kind of shape the wire back into place if it does get bent out of whack, but she fits. Now it's time to actually move the rest of the things temporarily so that I can get Rapunzel into the closet. It's honestly a lot harder when you don't have a specific deadline because it is harder to kind of keep going and keep that motivation on something. And sometimes I use you guys as my motivation. Maybe it's just that I want a Halloween project to share with you guys, so therefore I'm going to make this project in time for Halloween. Maisie is trying to chew her cardboard bed, so now she's going to sit on my lap and we'll see how this goes. Unfortunately, that was not the cleanest maneuver for Rapunzel. She got snagged on multiple hangers, so I guess we'll see the next time I need her what all I have to restyle again. These, by the way, are all things that are part of my mending and alterations pile, which I don't think you can see the rest of right now because it's all on this side and it has expanded and now it blocks the closet as well, which is, you know, not what I want. Someday I will tackle all of this stuff. I will probably do it in like a couple of random videos, and they're all really small things. Well, mostly small things that are relatively easy to accomplish, and I just haven't. Jean asked, what 3 things would you love to make but can't find the right fabrics or trims for? So I talked about this dress right here a few years ago, I think at this point. I would absolutely love to make this dress, but it's a matter of like finding the right and very expensive fabrics, but even just finding the right fabrics. Like I've looked for them in the fabric district and have not been able to find them. And so therefore, if I were to go and acquire them somewhere else, like Silk Baron or something like that, they'd be super expensive. So that is one of them. And another one that is still, like, these two actually, they are on my to make list. I want to make them as soon as I find the fabrics, but Caroline's Red and Goat, I still need the blue wool for that, and technically the velvet, but the velvet will be easier to find, I think. And also this pelerine right here, I still need the velvet for this one. I haven't found the right shade match yet, but those, like, as soon as I find them, I'm gonna make them. Francesca said, local to you, what other fabric places are there that you can drive to and touch the fabric? Almost none once Joann's closes, which is why I've been freaking out about this whole thing. We have a place called Pacific Fabrics, which has one location left because I think all the rest of those went out of business. And it's in Soto with very limited hours and it's very expensive, hence why I never shop there. So that's one. And there's a place called Fabrics for Less in Renton that has very much just like prom dressy type fabrics. Everything for Peaches and Cream came from there. Well, except for the sequin fabric, that was actually Joann's. And I think I've had one or two other things that have come from there, but honestly, most of what they have is not something that I would generally use for costumes. So, yeah, that's it. Now I need to find a better place for her, but Holiday Barbie actually lives on my table. I should find some place where she can like be dust free instead of sitting there for like 3 years between uses. But she's just so pretty. And she's really nicely styled, so I can't shove her in a bag. Back to the table she goes. When I go up to Port Townsend, there's a place called District Fabrics that has nicer fabrics. They're usually quite expensive, but they are nicer. But that's 2 hours from me. And Vancouver is like 2.5, 3 hours from me, which you will see that might be my closest place to get fabric that is in person. So that sucks. On the other hand, Kirsten's wig takes a licking and keeps on kicking, or whatever that phrase is. So I'm going to put her with her normal ribbons back in a little bag and shove it back in my wig bin. Argyle asked, do you prefer historical costumes, history bounding, or cosplay? Lately, I've been on a real big cosplay kick, I have to admit. I think part of it is because I've been doing historical costuming for so long that I honestly have a huge historical costuming wardrobe. And so I don't feel the need as much to make historical costumes. I think that's part of it. Someone has been eating my Kirsten wig bag. That's got Maisie's teeth marks all over it. Yeah, lately I've been really kind of liking the cosplays. And I of course like to do historical cosplays too. So I don't know, it's 50-50 between those two. Oh, the other thing that I lost from Barbie is her ring popped off. I looked all over the floor for it in the area that it popped off, but I couldn't find it. So maybe I will find it before I vacuum. I'm gonna put the human ring around her neck, and somewhere in here is also her wand, which that I thought I knew was out here. Oh, here's her wand. Okay, so at least her wand has been restored to her, but definitely not history bounding, because frankly, what I normally wear is like modern vintage inspired, you know, like this sweater that I found at the thrift store that has like 1890s bicycle sleeves, but it's hot pink and has pearls on it. I ran out of time in my cleaning yesterday, so here we are, day 2 of cleaning, and this is what the room currently looks like. One all-important sewing assistant who has just been sleeping in the hoop skirt over here on the floor. I am going to be needing the hoop skirt. I am going to be needing the hoop skirt for my next project, so that one doesn't have to get put away. She's going to go to her box, which kind of brings me to the next question of, do I take the studs and stuff out of her box? Because she likes them in there. That's like part of her box. It's my leftover studs and fake rhinestones from Jane. But let's not chew on the stud things, shall we? Let's not do that. I don't know why she likes them in there, but she does. I'll bet if I take them out, she'd be upset. Should we take them out? Do you want the box with nothing in it? Now what? Now she's just staring at them. I do have to figure out a place to put these, if not in her little bed box. And otherwise with the table, the purple just kind of needs to get condensed in the back. I had used it for a background for something for filming, something for Instagram. So that just needs to get condensed. That's still to return to my 1890s or 1900s, I think it was, outfit from last year. And then over here, I need to put away the pattern pieces and patterns. I think that's mostly what this is. This is an American American Girl Samantha item that just needs a little mend, and I have a spool of ribbon that I really need to figure out where to put my ribbons because I have too many ribbons and I've run out of place to put them. The big thing left is this pile, which is all of the new stuff that I got in Vancouver and also other stuff underneath it. I think like white stuff I was using as linings. So I need to get this folded up and put onto board so that I can put it in with the rest of the stash. And the green and blue is actually what I'm going to be using, I think, next. I have two projects, but that one is calling my name. So yeah, I think I'm going to be working on that next. You'll have to watch that video next week to see all about the fabric that I found. I also just feel that I should point out that Maisie has been redesigning this box bed all by herself. I'm not sure she's the happiest now that I've taken the studs out, but she has been cutting down the side, doing some remodeling. As you can see, she has nibbled off the entire side of that box and done a few nibbles in the back as well. I think she's really into home renovation and maybe some furniture restoration. So that's her new hobby. I forgot to film while cleaning off the rest of the table, but it's looking quite lovely now. Everything really that you see left, besides this one little thread, is just stains and marks on the table. And I even lint rolled it, and yet it is still covered in glitter. So now I just have to deal with this pile, and I think we'll be good. What I need to do in order to fold all of those up on my mini bolts though is to cut more of my little cardboard mini bolts. So this is one of my existing ones. I've grabbed out a couple of large boxes from the garage. Luckily I'm a pack rat when it comes to boxes, and I'm going to cut some more of these out so that I can get all of that other fabric folded onto my cardboard bolts. Dahi's asked if you could have an unlimited supply of any sewing item, what would it be? Silk taffeta. All the colors, all the patterns, all the everything. Silk taffeta. Mommy Cubed asked, what skill leveled up your sewing and costuming abilities? Honestly, I don't feel like there was any sort of one thing that like leveled up. I mean, just way back at my very start, like figuring out how to fit things, that's obviously super important, and I would say that is the most important thing you can do. Ideally, you want to do these without huge bends in them or like places where it will bend, but beggars can't be choosers, so we're going with ones that are a little bendy in the middle. Beyond that, it's more of a matter of like how much patience and time do you have for how like specific or extensive a costume can be, as opposed to skill, I think, honestly. Like knowing what fabrics to use is great. Having the fit is necessary, but I am not a patient person and I don't have a lot of time, and so therefore I probably could do way more complicated costumes than what I actually do, but my patience and time isn't there to be able to do that. I'm honestly a little bit torn about using this box because obviously they have used a huge quantity of blue dye in this box. But I don't know if I have enough other cardboard in the garage that's large enough that I can forego this one. But yeah, this makes me a little bit nervous because you can see that like blue has rubbed onto the chewy already. And I don't know if this is a good idea. I think I might go test it with like a little bit of water to see if this really will like transfer. Because if it does, I'm obviously not using it on any of my new fabrics. Put a drop of water on here. I'm just gonna rub the box down a little. Oh, don't use chewy boxes. Oh my gosh, this ink completely transfers. I don't know if you can tell how blue that is. That's really blue. So this is going in the recycling. We are not wrapping our nice fabrics on this. If you have, I guess, like a really dark blue or black or something like that, you could use a box like this, but this is a good reminder to test your cardboard before you use it to wrap fabric on top of it. Okay, so actually I don't have other cardboard in the garage that is big enough to wrap like for the right size for wrapping fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take other paper, like this paper bag, and I think I've hopefully got a couple other paper bags, and I'm going to cut them up and put them over the blue with naturally the ink side in. And yes, I did go to Party City like the day before it closed and got a whole bunch of things for $3 total. And naturally that Party City is in the same parking lot as one of the Joann's that is closing. But yeah, so I am going to use this box. I'm just going to protect where the blue is so that none of the blue is touching any fabric. Fairy Glitter asked, if I had the chance, would I travel as a guest for a convention, and which one would I like to go to? I would love to travel as a guest for a convention. I think that would be really neat. Like, I would love to try judging competitions. That said, I don't think that I have the like resume to be able to do that, because although I have been sewing for ages, it's only more recently that I've been getting into cosplay, and specifically like competition wise, the only 2 competitions I've entered are the 2 that Emerald City has, which is the cosplay showcase, where I have won something every single time I've entered, whether that is like a Judge's Choice Award, or as you may have seen over on Instagram, Best in Show for our 6th group, which was really cool. I've entered the Cosplay Crown Championships competition now 3 times, I think, and I haven't won anything at all over there. So I don't know that anyone would let me be a judge, but I would really like to. So if you are running a cosplay contest and you are looking for a judge slash cosplay guest to travel to your convention, send me an email or a DM on Instagram, because I think that would be super, super fun, and I would love to judge some needlework. Perfect size. Fairy Glitter also asked, will I do another Barbie costume? And said, I really love watching you make them. Thank you. I really love making them. And so yes, I'm sure that I will. I don't know which one at this point, but I am sure that I will, because they're really, really fun, both to make and honestly to wear. Hey! Oh my God! Why was your face there? Are you okay? Maisie, are you all right? Why did you do that? My stupid cat went and put her face where my scissors was cutting. Oh my God. Are you okay? Are you okay? She's okay, but I freaked out. Felt like all of a sudden her head was there. Maze. Not your bag. I didn't cut anything, right? Nothing got cut on my cat? At like conventions, people love them. Like, people were going crazy for even just Butterfly Princess Barbie. Maybe not as crazy as Peaches, but so many people came up to me and was like, oh my God, I had that Barbie, or I wanted that Barbie, or I remember that Barbie. Have to be honest, it still makes me nervous. I'm going to wrap only the lining fabric that I got on this and not any of the nice fabrics. And that is the best part about wearing cosplay, honestly, is like bringing joy to people's faces, and you know, just like getting all the warm fuzzies. I feel like that's really true of both the Barbie and American Girl cosplays. I love them, and so I will definitely continue to be making both Barbie and American Girl cosplays. Issy B Design asked, what's your most common fit issue with patterns? Definitely the bust dart area, like just getting this sort of fit where it's really, I have a pretty small chest, and like I know that I should learn at this point, or should have learned at this point, how to do a full bust adjustment, but I've tried multiple times and it's never worked for me. It's frustrating. Getting a perfect fit in that area, regardless of what pattern I use, that is something that I would love to figure out. Ideally, I also wouldn't use one so crunched up, but again, I don't have enough larger cardboard boxes, so I am going to use something that's even a little bent like that. Scarlett Valentine asked, would I ever do a commission for a drag queen? I love drag queens, but no, I don't do commissions, so I'm sorry, I won't do commissions for a drag queen or for anyone at that matter. 29TJB asked, why do I sew mostly costumes instead of new everyday clothing for myself? And a lot of that is just because my regular closet, it's just jammed. I mean, I've done a lot of clothes for myself. I wear them all the time. I'm wearing a skirt right now that I made a few years ago. And between like the thrifted stuff that I wear and the other stuff that I have made for myself, plus a handful of eShakti dresses that are in my regular rotation, I don't really feel like I need that many more clothes. So although I do make and will continue making projects for myself for everyday wear that are not costumes, my main focus is on costumes, also because they take longer. And so like if I were making a new outfit for myself, that might take a week or 2. I don't know where I'd put them. I don't know when I'd wear them. I'd have too many clothes. I already have too many clothes. Carrie McKinstry Jet said, which one of the projects you've planned for this year are you the most excited about? And also, what is the most challenging project you've ever worked on? So as far as planned for this year, there's a fabric that I got in Vancouver that I'm super, super excited about and will be one of my next 2 projects here. So that's what I'm feeling the most excitement for right now. It's going to be an 1850s dress, just as a heads up. And as far as the most challenging project I've ever worked on, probably still my Victorian child dress. I love that dress, and it was so intricate, and I poured so much time and effort into it. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of that dress, which is a copy, by the way, of a dress from a museum. Brandy Loutherback asked, what is on your gown wish list for the 3rd season of The Gilded Age? We're headed into 1884, I believe. Honestly, I don't really have a wish list. I just want the season to freaking get here because I feel like it has been 25 years since the last season, and it's probably my favorite show on TV besides maybe Drag Race, and I need more. So Gilded Age, when are we getting our next season? I'm desperate. And then for the last costuming or sewing related question, Leave asked, what's a costuming skill you would love to try or love the look of, but have been too intimidated to try yet? I don't know necessarily that intimidation is the right word. Like I would love to try tambour embroidery, but again, I don't think I have the patience for it. And there's some other similar things like, you know, beadwork, etc., that like I would love to try. I would love to incorporate into my costumes, but I don't think I have the patience to do it. I guess other than that, it would be kind of more of the cosplay skills. Like 3D printing sounds really, really cool. I don't own a 3D printer and I'm not good with computers, so that intimidates me. And frankly, I still really want to learn how to make PDF patterns for you guys, and that like learning how to do that is still intimidating and a barrier because I'm not good with computers. You've seen my editing skills. They're not great. Okay, moving on to theater questions. I had multiple people ask me what is my dream role, and kind of to go along with that, have I gotten to play it already? So for a really long time, my #1 dream role was Mother in Ragtime. And yes, I have gotten to play that. If you've been following me for a couple of years now, you've seen videos regarding my experience in Ragtime and regarding my experience in costuming myself basically in Ragtime. But I will link one of those down below in the description so you can check that out if you missed it. So beyond dream roles that I have already gotten to play, because Baker's Wife was another one that was another dream role that I now have gotten to play. And also Alice in Titanic was another dream role, which I've now gotten to play recently. So the remaining dream roles, #1 is Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd. I need to play that role. I just have to. And also Lucille in Parade, which I'm a little bit worried that I'm going to be aging out of pretty quickly here, and that show is like never done. So someone do Parade so I can play Lucille. Kitten. Hi, Gravity. Gravity's a thing. You want to go down? She has not mastered Gravity yet. And actually, kind of on that note, ACB Design asked, what musical would you like to do that you haven't done already? And frankly, Parade is up there. 6, which the rights aren't out for 6 yet, but when 6 comes out, I would love to do 6, and I would love to play Jane. So she's kind of become a dream role that's not accessible yet because the rights aren't out yet. And also literally anyone in Come From Away, that is just a dream show, and I want to do that show, but again, the rights aren't available yet. Argyle asked, what did I think of Wicked, and what do I think of musicals being made into movies? I like them when they are done well, like Wicked. I think that Wicked was done really well. I was honestly very pleasantly surprised by that movie, and I'm excited for part 2 to come out. Sometimes they're not done well. Sometimes they ruin things, like Mean Girls or something. Like that was, I'm sorry, that was awful. So if they are done well, I think that's great because it makes the musical and musical theater in general far more accessible to the masses. But if they are done poorly, then they kind of put a bad taste in the masses, like, of musical theater, which sucks. So, like, I think Wicked did a lot to undo the damage that something like Mean Girls did, but we just need more that are good. Something just dawned on me as I was about to start to wrap up all of these cottons. Normally, before I wrap cottons, I wash them. And I haven't washed any of these, and now I'm torn because it is easier to wrap them without having washed them because otherwise they come out of the wash wrinkled. However, will I remember to wash them when I pull them off the bolt? That is the question. And also, if I don't use the whole thing, then I kind of have to like wash them and then re-bolt them afterwards. I should wash them. I'm gonna go throw these in the wash and not actually bolt them right now. Oh, and apparently that was actually it for musical theater. So moving on to American Girl related questions. Linda asked, will I be doing an American Girl session at Costume College this year? I'm not sure if you mean like the panel that I just did for Emerald City Comic-Con, or like a group cosplay, or if I will be going to the American Girl store like I did last year. I'm not doing a panel or workshop. The schedule for everything is already out. If you're going to Costume College, be sure to go over to their website and check out the registration book. I am teaching my photo class, but not anything on American Girl. I will probably do an American Girl cosplay just because they are super easy to do like during the day, or even just like I'm just wearing this outfit and it happens to be an American Girl cosplay sort of thing. And I would like to go to the store, but it's on kind of the opposite side of LA from where the Costume College is, so we'll see if I actually get there or not. So I realized I need a couple of smaller bolts for this white fabric that had been sitting on the floor, and I went to go start cutting out these pieces, and Maisie insisted on being in the box while I cut them out. And so literally what was happening was I had my hand pressed down over here where I was cutting so that there could not be any pause or whispers or anything on that side, and she had put herself underneath there, as you kind of saw. Now of course she's jumped down just when I wanted to put her on camera, so that she could still be in the box as it was hanging off the side of the table. So it was like this situation going on, and there was a cat inside. I just don't understand cats sometimes. They are so silly. NB Cat Girl asked how many AG dolls do I have, and also favorite outfit you have on a doll currently. So I've actually realized lately that I have too many dolls, and I need to go through and pick ones to sell. On that note, all of my dolls are still dressed in Christmas outfits, even though it's March, because I have gotten overwhelmed lately. I mean, first off, I haven't had time for anything lately. Like, until literally this week, I've been just in mad rush of everything for months. But I am finding that I'm overwhelmed at the quantity of dolls that I have, which is somewhere upwards of 20, probably close to 30, to be honest. And I therefore don't want to dress them, because the idea of dressing one of them means dressing all of them and means making a mess of my house by taking out all of the clothes and accessories to get them changed and then having to put that all away. And I haven't had time to do that, and particularly for the quantity of dolls that I have. So the next thing that I want to do is to kind of go through, figure out what dolls I'm selling and, you know, not hanging on to, and weeding out my collection to ones that actually mean something to me, as opposed to just like owning the entire historical American Girl collection. So if you watch my social medias, I'm sure I will be doing an American Girl sale of dolls sometime in the next like month or so. Katie Liza Ellis asked, what AG dress would you like to redesign, like historically accurate, color change, etc.? Marie Grace. Marie Grace's outfit is awful. It has like nothing to do with anything, and it had so much potential because such a great era, and I even don't mind the fabric necessarily, like a good plaid for the 1850s, that's like perfect. But her dress is just atrocious. So yeah, that would be the one that I would pick. Burdened with Glorious Cosplay asked, what's your dream AG cosplay? I already made it. It's Felicity's Christmas dress. So yeah, at this point, I don't know that I have like a dream one. Probably, I guess, Caroline's Red Goat would be the thing of like, I need to make this because it's so pretty. And it happens to be the same color as Felicity's Christmas dress. But yeah, Felicity's Christmas dress. Otherwise, that was like the one that was living rent-free in my brain since I was a kid. Michaela Haverlook asked, do you have any mini sewing projects in mind that you want to make for your AG dolls? I honestly don't. I think it would be like if someone comes out with a new pattern that really sparks my interest, or if I need a break from sewing for myself, then I will do an American Girl sewing project. But otherwise, I don't have anything planned for the dolls. And Beth asked, are there any more American Girl cosplays on my to-do list? Well, obviously we've been talking about Caroline, but also I went to Joann's the other day, you know, as you do while they're clearing out fabric. And this was in the Christmas section, so it was already 40% off. And I was like, oh my God, this is a perfect match for Molly's jumper, her school jumper. So yeah, I'm making Molly's school jumper dress because I found this fabric. I don't know when exactly I'll be making it, but sometime before this fall is my plan. And this is what I might wear as like an easy during the day cosplay at costume college. Okay, on to personal questions about me. Jen asked a cheeky question of when will I be visiting Oz, aka Australia, because she lives in Australia. And of course, Kiralee lives in Australia as well. And I very much owe Kiralee a visit because she's now visited me 3 times. That said, I have no idea when I'll be visiting Australia. Not this year for sure. I don't know. Not only is it very, very expensive to get to Australia, but it's also one of those places where I feel like I would need minimum of 2+ weeks, and it's nearly impossible to get that much time off of work in the US because it sucks here. So yeah, I don't know when. Honestly, Japan is higher on my list of like international places to visit, so Australia could be years away, to be honest. Judd asked, I'd love to learn more about how you make time for it all. Am I still working full-time and doing back-to-back shows and making content? Yeah, I don't know how I make time for it all either, to be perfectly honest. And I feel like I've been living in a constant state of like near burnout for the last multiple years at this point. I am not doing a show at the moment. Like there's been nothing after Xanadu that closed a couple of weeks ago, and I probably won't do a show again until at least fall because I need more time for myself. I'm also hoping to adopt a dog and I want to be home more for a dog. But yeah, even when I'm not doing a show, it feels hard to make time for things. So I'm glad to be taking a break, but I honestly don't know how I make time for it all. It's a mystery. Not sleeping enough, that's probably it. And deferred maintenance on my house. H. Meghall asked, what's the cutest quirk that I found Maisie to have since adopting her? Honestly, everything. She's so chatty, which I love. I love when she snuggles with me in the morning. That's probably my favorite thing. Like if my alarm goes off, or sometimes before my alarm goes off, she likes to come in and just snuggle with me, which makes it really hard on a weekday when I have to get up for work. But she just kind of like tucks herself in right here on my shoulder as I'm like laying down and just like presses her face up against me, and I love it. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things that she does. But also we've been doing great on our walk training. I'm so proud of her. So she likes to go on leashed walks around the neighborhood because she is an indoor only cat. And yeah, Maisie has just brought a lot of joy to my life. Beth asked, Maisie seems to have settled in really well. Does she behave herself in my sewing room, or is she a little menace? She is usually good. She has not tried to like destroy anything, even tulle, which is surprising. She does like to hide in tulle, but she doesn't tear it up. But although I edit most of this out, you may have heard some of it in the background, is that she chews on her little bed thing here. She also chews on plastic, but she has like redesigned all of this by chewing it off. And so I don't mind her chewing on cardboard. It's fine. It just is kind of noisy while I'm filming. Danse Funebre asked, what's my favorite antique piece in my collection and how old is it? It's actually my first piece that I ever got, which is my 1860s striped dress. I did a whole video on that dress, which I'll link up here if you want to go take a look at it and examine all of the details. But I was just so excited to own any antique piece. And again, that was my first. And I think it's still probably the coolest one in my collection. I mean, it's a full dress and it's one of the oldest pieces in my collection. So yeah, that one's my favorite. Pippa Sea Spirit asked, how do you feel about using period appropriate makeup when you're in period costume? I don't use it. I use normal makeup. I will usually go for a brown or like neutral eyeshadow when I'm wearing historical costumes, and I will usually try to draw my wings a little smaller. And that's pretty much all I do differently than my normal day-to-day makeup, because I know that like online and people and everything, they react to like a certain aesthetic. And if I were to do like no makeup or, you know, kind of the trends of other certain eras, I would not personally feel that I look good. So I don't want to put that out on the internet of like me not looking good, which is why I also wear makeup every day. And then the final question, Cartoony Gothica asked, knowing that I like to wear short leggings under my modern outfits, do I also wear them when wearing tights? And the answer is yes, actually. I wear the like cut off Old Navy cotton leggings regardless of whether I'm wearing tights or not. I just find that the tights last a lot longer. Like personally for me, the seam where the leggings rub, that winds up getting like holes at the seam. And then those leggings are actually cheaper and easier to replace than the tights, because I wear snag tights for all of my tights now except for my nude like dance type tights. And And that's only because Snag still doesn't have like almost any nude colors, and I just keep asking them to introduce a color between basically white and like you're super tan, and there's nothing in the middle, and I don't want to look basically white like my legs actually are. So yeah, those I use Body Wrappers tights. I'll link the Body Wrappers ones down in the description if you are also looking for nude tights, but everything else I wear Snag tights. However, I still like the feeling of wearing those bike shorts over. So yeah, they're just cotton leggings from Old Navy, and I just cut off the like length part of them, like from a little bit above the knee down. I just cut those off, and they are super, super comfy. They're cotton, which is great. So highly recommend. And you don't even have to do anything to the bottom. Like once you cut them off, they don't fray. So that's what I wear. And that is all of the questions that you guys had for me this go around. Let's check in on my sewing room and see if it's clean. You guys, it is so clean in here. Look, the floor is freshly vacuumed. There's still a little bit of stuff on the counters, mostly because that over there is also mending pile stuff. And so I haven't gotten to it, and it's just like bike shorts and stuff. But look, floor. You can see floor, and it's vacuumed, and table. Look at that huge expansive table. I can cut out some mid-19th century skirts on that. So much room. Everything looks so nice. Well, that is a room clean. That's my clean with me Q&A, and I am so excited to have the room nice and clean again so that I can start all of my Victorian Festival sewing, because I've got so many projects to sew. So I'm going to dive right into that sewing, but it is going to be probably a couple of weeks before you see the videos for that, just because I've got a lot of content, especially a lot of Kiralee and I content that is going to be coming out on this channel very, very soon. But yeah, I'm very excited now that my sewing room is back to actually usable. It was so stressful before. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and a little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube at least once a week, usually with sewing vlogs out on Tuesdays, plus sometimes additional random costuming or sewing related content like this out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below, or you can send me a super thanks or join my YouTube channel memberships right here on YouTube below the video. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Jean and Kim. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!